When World War II broke out, Italy's Regia Aeronautica Royal Air Force was one of the largest air forces in Europe. It boasted hundreds of aircraft, a proud tradition from World War I, and a reputation for bold pilots. But by the war's end, the Italian Air Force had suffered devastating losses and was largely overshadowed by its Axis and Allied counterparts. The story of the Regia Aeronautica is one of early ambition, technological shortcomings, heroic episodes, and ultimate obscurity, a crucial but often forgotten piece of the Second World War. The rise of the Regia Aeronautica. Established in 1923, the Regia Aeronautica was the world's first independent air force under a fascist regime. Benito Mussolini heavily promoted it as a symbol of Italian modernity and power. Throughout the 1930s, Italy used its air force in colonial wars, most notably in Ethiopia, 1935–36, and Spain, 1936–39, to project strength and test new tactics. By 1940, when Italy entered World War II, the Regia Aeronautica had over 3,000 aircraft. On paper this was impressive, but many planes were outdated biplanes or light bombers ill-suited for modern air combat. Early campaigns and challenges. At the start of the war, the Regia Aeronautica participated in offensives over France and the Mediterranean. It supported Italian troops in North Africa, bombed British positions in Malta, and even took part in the Battle of Britain with a token Italian force deployed to Belgium. However, the Air Force quickly encountered major problems. Outdated aircraft designs, including the Fiat CR.42 biplane, struggled against faster, better-armed Allied fighters like the Spitfire and Hurricane. Limited production capacity meant Italy could not replace aircraft or parts as quickly as Britain, Germany, or the US. Poor coordination with ground and naval forces reduced the effectiveness of combined operations. Forgotten theaters of valor. Despite its limitations, the Regia Aeronautica had several underappreciated moments of bravery and tactical success. North Africa. Italian pilots flew thousands of missions in support of Axis forces under Rommel. The Macchi C.202 Folgore, introduced in 1941, was one of Italy's few world-class fighters. It matched Allied aircraft in speed and agility and gave the Luftwaffe some much-needed air support. Eastern Front. In 1941, Italy sent the Corpo Aereo Italiano to support Germany on the Eastern Front. Italian pilots flew Fiat BR-20 bombers and Fiat G.50 fighters in harsh Russian conditions. Though not decisive, their participation reflected Mussolini's commitment to the Axis cause. Defense of the homeland. By 1943, as Allied bombers targeted Italian cities and factories, the Regia Aeronautica fought a losing battle over its own skies. Italian pilots, often outnumbered and under-equipped, launched desperate interceptions against massive US and British raids. The armistice and split air forces. In September 1943, Italy signed an armistice with the Allies. The Regia Aeronautica fractured into two. The Italian Co-Belligerent Air Force, ICF, joined the Allies, flying missions against their former German partners, often using Allied-supplied aircraft. The Aeronautica Nazionale Repubblicana ANR, loyal to Mussolini's puppet state in northern Italy, continued to fight alongside the Luftwaffe until 1945. This split further complicated the legacy of the Italian Air Force, as former comrades now found themselves on opposite sides. Post-war fade into obscurity. The legacy of the Regia Aeronautica was clouded by Italy's overall performance in the war. Post-war narratives focused on the exploits of the RAF, USAF, and Luftwaffe, often ignoring the Italian contribution. Many Italian pilots who fought valiantly were forgotten, their service overshadowed by political turmoil and the collapse of fascism. However, historians and aviation enthusiasts have begun to re-evaluate the Regia Aeronautica's role. Pilots like Giuseppe Senni, Giulio Reiner, and Terezio Martinoli are now recognized for their skill and courage, even when flying inferior machines against overwhelming odds. The story of the Regia Aeronautica is one of ambition frustrated by poor preparation, but also of resilience and bravery in the face of adversity. Though often forgotten in the grand narrative of World War II, Italy's wartime air force played a crucial role in multiple theaters of the conflict. Its history deserves to be remembered, not just for its shortcomings, but for the determination of the men who took to the skies in one of the war's most challenging roles.